From 2009 to 2011, Dragon Ball Kai averaged a 9.4% rating share. Unlike Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Kai aired during the Dream 9 block, which is 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Episode 47 is the highest rated episode of Dragon Ball Kai with a 12.3% rating share. Airing March 7, 2010, adapting part of 316 and adapting 317 of the manga. And because this is Dragon Ball Z re-edited, episode 47 adapted episode 94 and 95 of Dragon Ball Z. The script was written by Hiroshi Toda. The directors were Yoshihiro Ueda and Shigeyasu Yamaguchi, who directed the Z episodes that were converted into this one. But Yasuhiro Noatari is credited for the specific episode direction for episode 47 of Kai. Episode 47, Awaken Legendary Warrior, the Super Saiyan Son Goku. Episode 47 starts with Gohan, Kuririn, or Krillin, and Piccolo doing their best to hold off Frieza while Goku readies the Genki Dama, otherwise known as the Spirit Bomb. Once ready, Goku smashes Frieza with the Genki Dama, and it takes everyone out. And Frieza's believed to be defeated, until...
It's Frieza!
Frieza's alive, and he knocks off Piccolo and bombs Krillin, and threatens to kill Gohan, until... Goku transforms, giving the episode its namesake. So why was episode 47 the most viewed episode of Dragon Ball Kai? The episode is titled Awaken Legendary Warrior, the Super Saiyan Son Goku. Enough said. People knew Goku was going to transform in this episode, thanks to Dragon Ball Z existing and the episode 46 preview, and surely the adults who are nostalgic for Dragon Ball Z definitely changed the channel to check out this episode one more time. There's a clear jump in ratings from 46 to 47, which persist for a few episodes after. And the same is true for Dragon Ball Z episode 95 when Goku finally transformed there. One other thing is that this episode took place either during or around spring break, so, you got that as well. If you look at Dragon Ball Kai, the final chapters, as another entity, this is the first Dragon Ball series where the highest rated episode came after its lowest rated episode, because the lowest rated episode of Dragon Ball Kai was episode 18, posting a 6.4 rating share. Episode 18 aired August 9, 2009, adapting part of chapter 243 and chapters 244 and 245, which correlate to Dragon Ball Z episode 37 and 38. Episode 18 script was written by Katsuyuki Sumisawa and Keiji Terui, edited by Nobutaka Maki, assisted by Kentaro Furusho, and directed by Yasuhiro Noatari again. The original Dragon Ball Z directors were Johei Matsuura and Yoshihiro Ueda. Episode 18, The Ship Resting in Yunzabit. Time to blast off for planet Namek. After letting Vegeta escape, the cast continue planning their trip to Namek, and Bulma ends up destroying Nappa's space pod. All hope is lost until Mr. Popo informs them of Kami's spaceship in the Yunzabit Highlands. Bulma goes with him and they find an old-looking spaceship, and find out it still works. And it works so well that it gets them close to Jupiter in a flash. The team of Bulma, Kuririn, and Gohan is set to go to Namek, and they blast off for Namek 10 days later. So why was episode 18 the least viewed episode of Dragon Ball Kai? Before the final chapters, of course. Number 1, the fight with Vegeta was officially over, and Vegeta left in episode 17. So the series had reached its first climax and was just having post-Vegeta clarity. Number 2, the episode aired in August, and like with GT and with Z, kids were probably prepping for school, summer break was ending, maybe they had trips, stuff like that going on. And number 3, this episode is a very low-key kind of episode compared to the ones that came before and after. And there would have been so many people already watching this who would have been already familiar with Z and the manga, so they would have known what was going to happen later. So they already knew when the heavy action-packed Namek episodes were coming. This episode did have an unusually low rating, the first Dragon Ball episode to dip below a 7. It was a very uncommon occurrence during the first run of Dragon Ball Kai, but the same couldn't be said for Dragon Ball Kai The Final Chapters. So for part 2 of this video, I'll be exploring just that. So stay tuned for the highest and lowest rating shares of Dragon Ball Kai The Final Chapters. So see y'all. After returning from cancellation, the second phase of Dragon Ball Kai would replace Toriko, airing the Majin Buu story arc from 2014 to 2015. Dragon Ball Kai's second run averaged a 5.8% rating share, down from the 9.4. Episode 106 is the highest rated episode of Dragon Ball Kai, The Final Chapters, garnering a 7.6% rating share. Episode 106 aired May 25th of 2014. And what's funny about this episode is that it coincides with the highest rated episode of Dragon Ball Z as well, episode 218. Check that video out. Both episode 106 of Kai and 218 of Z are the highest rated episodes of their respective series if you bar phase 1 of Dragon Ball Kai. Episode 106 also adapted episodes 217 and 219 of Z. On the manga side, episode 106 adapted chapters 441 to 445 of the manga. The script for 106 was written by Katsuyuki Sumisawa and Takao Koyama. Direction carried out by Terazaki Naohiro and editing done by Kenta Katase. Episode 106. Videl battered. Gohan's fury is at its limits. Spopovich is relentlessly battering the bejesus out of Videl and is getting Gohan more and more pissed off. Her dad's none the wiser meanwhile. Yamu gets Spopovich to win the match before Gohan could kill him. Goku goes to get Videl a Senzu, and Videl, while in the infirmary, wants Gohan to beat Spopovich. Mr. Satan shows up to the infirmary to check on his daughter and is perplexed with Spopovich's transformation. Once Gohan has successfully healed Videl, he begins his match with Kibito and transforms for him. And then he is stabbed by Spopovich and Yamu, and they take off. And then Goku and the others take off along with them. So I got one question for you. Why was episode 106 the most viewed episode of Dragon Ball Kai as far as the second phase of the series goes? At this point, the second run of Dragon Ball Kai was still brand new and likely still experiencing the initial ratings boosts that each new series tend to have. It was being highlighted in Saikyo Jump, and Toriyama had a recent interview with Naho Oishi. It could be that the audience knew the Majin Buu story arc would finally kick into motion from this episode on. Maybe unfamiliar viewers were curious to see if Spopovich would kill Videl before Gohan could stop him. This is also the first episode that Gohan goes SS2 for the first time since his fight versus Cell. So the second phase of Dragon Ball Kai started on a high, but then it hits rock bottom only 9 episodes later. Episode 115 made history, being the first episode of Dragon Ball to fall to a 3 in the ratings. A 3.7 to be exact. This is unusually low, even for Dragon Ball Kai around this time. But once again, like with the lowest rated episodes of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and the first run of Kai, this episode aired in August. What is with this? It must be the crazy amount of festivals and events during this time of the year, along with the summer coming to a close. It's just that this month is very consistent with dropping a lot of Dragon Ball's lowest episode rating shares. Episode 115 aired August 3rd, 2014, and adapted chunks of chapter 458 and 459, which correlate to Dragon Ball Z episodes 230 and 231. The script was penned by Sumio Uetake and Hiroshi Toda. Kazuhito Kikuchi and Osamu Kasai are credited as the original Dragon Ball Z directors, and Kenta Katase and Kiminori Furuta are credited for editing and editing assistants respectively. Episode 115, The Countdown to Revival, Crush Babidi's ambitions. In this episode, Goku vs. Majin Vegeta roars on as Gohan and the Kaioshin continue to thwart Babidi. Gohan and Kaioshin drop in to find Majin Buu's shell and run into Babidi and Deborah, and get locked into a standoff with the two. Gohan then prepares to attack, but Goku's damage from his battle pumped out so much energy that Majin Buu reached full power and is ready to hatch. And that's the shortest episode recap I've ever had to do. So I got a question for you. Why was episode 115 the least viewed episode of Dragon Ball Kai? I ran through most of this during the episode recap, but the long-held tradition of drastic rating drops in August continued with episode 115. It makes no sense otherwise. This episode showcases Goku vs. Vegeta Part 2, and Majin Buu's seal is broken in the very next episode. The story is really hot at this point. The ratings prove this because the episodes before 115 hover around a 6, and after the 3.7 in this episode, the ratings quickly recover and hang around a 5 for the next few episodes. So it's much easier to just put this episode down as an oddity. It's also funny to think that fans probably could have been more concerned with the giveaway that Fuji TV was doing during the next episode preview. But it is quite odd that this episode of all episodes just happened to drop to a 3.7. But with part 2 of Dragon Ball Kai over with, only a week after Dragon Ball Kai ended, Dragon Ball Super would premiere. Dragon Ball Super began airing July 5th of 2015, and of the 131 episodes of the series, episode 47 received the highest rating share at an 8.4%, the first and only time Dragon Ball Super hit an 8 or higher in the ratings. For comparison, Dragon Ball Super averaged a 5.6% rating share throughout its entirety of its run. Episode 47, titled SOS from the Future, A Black New Enemy Appears, aired June 12th of 2016, a very important date for me personally. Episode 47 script was penned by Atsuhiro Tomioka. The animation supervisors were Naoki Tate and Osamu Ishikawa. Chief animation supervisor for this episode was Takeo Ide. Hiroyuki Kakura and Kohei Hatano are credited for the storyboard and direction respectfully. So here's the recap. Trunks stops by Bulma, who just finished collecting enough fuel for a one-way trip, but Black attacks and kills Bulma before they could even leave. Meanwhile, in the present, Goku suckers Piccolo into competing against him in a crop harvesting race before interrupting Vegeta's training on Beerus's planet, and they eat noodles together while discussing the Omni King's devastating power. And back to the future. Trunks reunites with Mai, and they eat food Mai scavenged. Then they head to Capsule Corp, but Black attacks one more time, seemingly killing Mai, and the episode closes out revealing Black has Goku's face. So, why did so many people watch episode 47? It's almost not even worth explaining. Future Trunks made his return. One of the most beloved characters in the whole franchise came back with bad news. Again. But also, do y'all remember the build up to this episode with the leaks and spoilers coming out? The promotional poster that everyone tried to decode until the episode came out? Even into the arc with the earrings. It's tough to say, but this episode was probably more hyped than the announcement that Dragon Ball Super would be the first Dragon Ball series in almost 20 years. And by new Dragon Ball series, I mean brand new, because Kai was, a recut. But it's almost, in a way, more hyped up than Dragon Ball Super's announcement. That's just how high the anticipation was for this episode. And this was during the social media age, so everyone was being bombarded with constant news, excitement, and confusion with Trunks' hair color for weeks before the episode even aired. And there's more proof on the screen. I'll bet anything that the biggest reason people tuned in to watch episode 46 was to see the next episode preview for 47. On top of that, there was changes to the opening animation, including Trunks and Mai, and even Black. On top of that, Dragon Ball Super jumped from 6th to 3rd place in the ratings among its contemporaries. This is huge because Dragon Ball Super was always in the top 10, but only ever cracked the top 3 spot once, and that was for the all-out fight between Goku and Golden Frieza from episode 25. So if that's Dragon Ball Super's highs, what are the lows? Ultra Instinct. No, I'm not even kidding. This is the moment I have been waiting for this entire freaking rating series. For a little while after the episode I'm about to cover aired, I had this burning desire, this itch, to find out why episodes 109 and 110 only ever hit a 3.5 in the ratings. Yes, the episodes where Goku unlocks UI, that 1 hour special, has the lowest rating share of any Dragon Ball episode ever. Until Dragon Ball DAIMA episode 1. I'll get into that in a later video. But the thing about this episode is, it's probably the most viewed episode of Dragon Ball Super. Remember, Crunchyroll, Anime Labs, all those platforms crashed when this episode first aired. So let's just get into the details of this episode, alright? Episode 109 and 110 aired together as a 1 hour special. The script was written by Hiroshi Yamauchi and Atsuro Tomioka, with the animation supervised by Tsutomu Ono and Shuichiro Manabe for 109 and Naoki Tate and Yoichi Onishi for episode 110. While Miyako Tsuji and Takeo Ide are credited as chief animation supervisors for the respective episodes. The respective directors for the episodes are Kazuya Karasawa and Masato Mitsuka. Since this is a two-part episode, I'm gonna just cover it all at once. Episode 109 and 110 aired October 8th, 2017. Let's start with episode 109, titled The Ultimate Enemy Approaches Goku. Now, Let Loose. The Ultimate Genki Dama. 3 different titles for this one episode. Okay, Goku's thinking about a stronger opponent while fighting Ribrianne, so she transforms, but Goku knocks her down right in front of Jiren. Ribrianne flees, and Jiren's powers making the whole world of Void shake. Remember that sentence, he's making the whole world of Void shake. Then, the fight breaks out and Jiren totally outclasses Goku, even while in SS Blue with the 20 times Kaioken stacked on top of it. So Goku pulls out his trump card, the Genki Dama. It has 0 effect. Jiren effortlessly pushes it back at Goku and it seemingly kills him, which carries over into the next episode, 110. Son Goku wakes, new level of the awakened. The blast engulfs Goku and everyone believes he's dead. Jiren won't be penalized for it though because it was Goku's move. There's a brief lull in action, then the whole world of Void begins to shake once again. And Goku rises from the rubble, emitting heat and looking very different. Goku has unlocked Ultra Instinct. That's right, Goku has unlocked Ultra Instinct. Then round 2 literally kicks into motion, but Goku's flame fizzles out and puts him out of commission. Frieza snatches him and ends the episode, reminding Goku of Planet Namek. So, with an episode with arguably even more hype around it than the Trunks episode, why did episodes 109 and 110 have such a low rating share? First of all, these episodes aired 2 weeks after 108 because the week of October 1st, the One Piece 1 hour autumn special aired, and it marked the first time Super Sentai and Kamen Rider aired in their brand new time slots, which was the Dream 9 block from 9 to 10 a.m., which previously occupied Dragon Ball Super and One Piece. The time change had the same effect on One Piece, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider as well. One Piece dropped to a 4.7 in the ratings from a high 7s weeks before. Kamen Rider dropped from a 3 to a 2.6, and Dragon Ball Super, which was hitting 5s before, dropped to a 3.5 the week that these episodes aired. But on the bright side, it quickly recovered in the weeks that came after. It was also Dragon Ball Super's first and only 1 hour special, so it's much harder to retain constant viewership for 2 episodes versus 1. Think of it like this. It's easier to watch a full 10-second YouTube short than it is to watch a full 10-minute YouTube video. It's the attention retention, you know? That's the idea regardless of how good the episode actually was. And here's another example. Titanic is considered an amazing film. It used to be the highest grossing film in the box office. But try sitting through over 3 hours of that movie without losing focus even once. And regardless of the changes, Dragon Ball Super was still ranked in 6th place in the ratings, which is pretty consistent and typical for the show, suggesting that there wasn't anything as far as episode content that drew in a low rating, but more so outside business matters. And so that's the story behind the highest and lowest rated episodes of Dragon Ball Super. For next time, I'll review all of Dragon Ball's dips and ratings during Golden Week, so stay tuned for that. And also, when Dragon Ball DAIMA's done airing, I'll make a video on Dragon Ball DAIMA's highest and lowest. So I'll catch y'all there, and I'll see y'all later.